that we're starting to see in our community, and it's going to be a great addition to our community.
And then long term now.
You know, long term,
play a guess.
yeah, exactly. Let me get my crystal ball out here.
Yeah.
But, you know, long term, we have a great future. Like I mentioned, we have some very strong components to our economy. They're going to allow us to continue to expand and grow. And so a lot of what we think about and how we look at our community is, okay, let's make sure we're getting the right pieces in the right spots, that we're defining the vision right from an economic development perspective, that we're making sure we're recruiting the right people. And, you know, our biggest challenge right now is workforce development. You know, we've got lots of jobs open, and we just got to find the quality people with the right talents to fill those jobs and become a vital part of our community.
So now you say there's lots of jobs open, but some of the, you know, rumors or what people say is that there's not the white collar jobs that people want. I mean, is that the truth of the matter, or is there some truth to it that needs to grow? You know,
there are a variety of jobs open across the board. Everything from we need the clerk at the convenience store to, you know, to pay for our gas, all the way up to, you know, I was talking to one of our electrical companies this week, and they are flying candidates in to fill electrician jobs, to interview, because there's not people available
in this area.
Yeah, and so those technical trades, there is a very high demand for all of those, and we anticipate into the future there's going to continue to be a real need for those. And then into the engineering field, you know, engineers are just,
if you're an engineer, you're a gold mine.
Yeah, you're kind of picking your job right now. It's sort of like IT was about 10 years ago.
Nursing is kind of at this point in time as well.
If you're an engineer right now, you know, it's like the guys we had in yesterday. They said we need to hire 30 engineers by the end of next year.
Wow.
And so those are the kinds of things we're really starting to see, and our local engineering firms are doing the same thing. They're hiring people as fast as they can to meet the need, and so we're in a very enviable position when we look at the rest of the nation.
So now everybody knows back in May, right around the Memorial Day weekend, our world in Bismarck, Mandan has just changed completely.
It changed. Yep.
How did the flood affect you personally, and then also as the president of the chamber?
You know, personally, the flood just impacted me via friends and colleagues that we have here. We actually live off the river over on the east side, and so personally, you know, we weren't as impacted by the river, but certainly, you know, we went out and helped sandbag, and you know, it was not a lot of fun to help friends along the river sandbag their house and watch the water come up. But you know, what we have seen since we have gotten a little farther into the flood, into what I call the new normal, is that
kind of good point there.
Is that, you know, we have not been impacted as bad as we thought we were going to be. We have a lot of houses surrounded by water, but interestingly enough, the vast majority of our houses have stayed dry. They're dealing with the groundwater issues, they're dealing with the access issues, but the structures you know, for the vast majority have stayed dry. So our flood experience is going to be much different than contrasting that with Minot, for instance.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah. So what our businesses saw in the month of May and into June was, if you were outside of businesses that were dealing with the flood, you know, most business was off 20 to 40% in the May time frame. June, we saw things rebound. Most of the businesses were saying, okay, 5 to 10% is probably what we're off here. So we're seeing that climb back into the normal levels. But we consider it a business interruption event as opposed to a business disaster event. Yeah. And so, you know, we anticipate that if things get under control with the river, it goes back down, you know, we'll pick back up, and within a year or so, we'll be kind of back to the same pace that we were at. Whereas Minot, you know, probably has a decade in front of them of really trying to figure out how to get their community back on its feet, get the repairs done, all of those sorts of things.
Minot's just like the Grand Forks and East Grand Forks. I mean, I went through the flood of '97 in East Grand Forks, so it's like I know exactly what those people are going through, and it's insane. And
actually, the folks, I haven't been to Minot yet, but the folks that have been there have told me that they actually think it's worse than Grand Forks.
Oh, I believe it is. I mean, because it was one of those things where it wasn't supposed to happen, then all of a sudden within a week, boom.
Yeah, and you had 3 days to get everything out. So
so that's... Heart goes out to those people, that's for sure.
It really does. And that's one of the things that we're looking at is, you know, here at the end of August, actually, we're going to have a flood recovery conference.
Okay.
And we're bringing in folks from Cedar Rapids, Fargo, Grand Forks, and Des Moines who have all experienced floods. And we want to really understand, okay, what were the things you did right coming out of your flood? What are the things that you wish you would have done better?
But you guys need to invite East Grand Forks.
And we're, and in addition to that, we're inviting the whole central part of and western part of North Dakota. So we've called Minot and said, okay, we're going to put this together because we know you're really busy and don't have time to pull us together. We're going to pull it together, and then, you know, we're either going to have you come down here, or we're going to try to figure out how to get parts of it up there. But
so you can learn from it and start.
But I think this conversation is very important from not just the private sector standpoint, but from the public sector standpoint as we think about policy going forward. You know, do we look at permanent diking? How do we pay for everything that's went on? All of those sorts of things.
Well, and that's another thing that we had talked about, that the federal aid is just not going to be there. I mean, definitely long term with all this budget crisis and everything and all the money that we owe. But in North Dakota, we have this huge surplus. So do you foresee it's going to be, okay, North Dakota, you take care of this?
Yeah, I think that we're probably going to carry a little more burden than maybe other states have, because we do have you know, money in the bank, and I think we're one of 2 states in the nation that actually have any money in the bank.
Which is insane to think.
Yeah. And
again, another conversation.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, I do think that as we look at where we're at and where we go, and probably more with the Minot folks, you know, Cedar Rapids, for instance, when I've talked with them the last couple of weeks, what they said was they utilize CDGB funds, Community Development Block Grant funds. And what they were able to do was take those funds and develop some programs specifically for their local economy, their local business community, their local community. And then they would go back to the federal government and say, okay, here's what we want to do with the CDGB. Will you let us do that? And got okay that way. Well, you know, we're not anticipating a lot of those funds being available to come in to help with some of the rebuilding. So it is going to be a different formula that we use here in Bismarck and Mandan and in Minot.
Do you think that's something that'll maybe even come from the TIF account? In the June issue, there was an article about the TIF account, and we actually have in this August issue a rebuttal piece put together by the Downtowners Association. Do you think there's maybe some room for that?
You know, the tax increment financing district is in downtown. And so what I would tell you is that as I think about the policy and what TIF was set up for originally and sort of how it's used across the nation, it really needs to remain within that district. Yeah, it can't be seen as a free pool of money to, you know,
do whatever needs to be done.
Right. Exactly.
It was set up for a purpose, let it remain in that purpose. And that's the purpose it
should be used for. And if we, you know, and if we don't need it for that purpose, then we should figure out either how to give it back or do something different.
So now, since you've been here, I mean, you've worked on numerous projects. What has been the most exciting project at this point in time?
You know, I'm not sure I can pick one project that sort of stands out. I mean, we've had a lot of great projects. You know, everything from the USS North Dakota. Was really interesting, you know, trying to get a ship named, or a boat is what I should say, because it's a submarine. The submarine is a boat.
Yes, it is a boat.
Yeah.
Because it can float and then go under.
Yes, I've learned my vernacular from the Navy, folks. But, you know, that whole project was really interesting because we got to engage the whole state. You know, we took the delegation, the governor, and some others out, and we actually got to meet with the Secretary of the Navy and pitch him on the idea of naming a boat after North Dakota.
Oh, very cool.
And yeah, you know, I'm not easily intimidated, but I got to tell you, pitching the Secretary of the Navy was a little intimidating in his own conference room.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it. I'm sure he's got like weapons all over the place.
It was cool. So, you know, so that was fun. You know, we, the members decided to invest in a new building in 2006, 2007.
Which is gorgeous.
It's been a great move for us, really provided the organization with an identity. And we really view the building as a tool. You know, it's for our members. We utilize it in a way that we hope to get them down there a lot via the events that we do, and it's really been a great asset for our meetings and conferences and those sorts of things.
It feels like it's a building for the community versus just the chamber staff.
It really is, and that was really how we tried to create the building when we did it, was to say, okay, how do we utilize this in so many different ways and not just as the headquarters? And so that project has really been a lot of fun. The one we're working on right now, and more announcements will be coming here very soon, is the Community Bowl. You know, doing a major renovation to that and bringing it into sort of an upgraded status. It's been about 15 years.
Okay.
Since the bowl was last worked on, and the business community helps a lot with the state track meet, and we had some members that said, we really need to do something with this. If you're sitting in the stands, it looks great. If you get down and really look at the infrastructure, the track needs redone, the locker rooms.
The bathrooms.
The bathrooms, the concession
Every woman
stand.
will say the bathroom.
Yes, exactly. So we're looking at a major upgrade to the community bowl, and so we'll have more details coming on that here probably by the end of August, first part of September. So it's just across the board, there's just fun projects all the time that we get to work on that we hope really contribute to the value of the community.
So now, do you see yourself always being with the chamber, or do you see a step up into another direction? I mean, I know political scene is always changing rather frequently. So where do you see yourself going?
I love what I'm doing, and probably until they quit renewing my month-to-month contract, I will be there. But there's just so many opportunities with the chamber, and one of the things that's been really fun with our organization is that we have a great board of directors. And one of the things that they've really allowed us to do as a staff is, they set the vision and the direction and make sure that we have the financing to get done what we need to do. But as a staff, they really give us a lot of freedom to freelance in how we get things done. Okay. And that's,
that's rare to come by.
That is hard to come by. And as I say, I think in my City Magazine piece, they expect excellence out of us and demand performance, but they also allow us to fail. And it's like I tell the staff, if we don't fall flat on our face every once in a while, then we probably haven't pushed it hard enough. And so that kind of a work environment and the opportunity to work for a board of directors that gives you the ability, to really work and do some things out of the ordinary, out of the box, is something that's hard to find. And so, I'm having a blast, and I have an unbelievably great staff. They really make me look good. There's no question about it. And so, it's just, we have a lot of great dynamics and a lot of great pieces. And as long as we find interesting challenges, I love what I'm doing.
Very cool. Now, we just have about 30 seconds, so where can people go to learn more about the chamber?
Sure. They can always go to our website, which is bismarckmandan.com, and you can find us on all of the social media sites, Facebook and all of that. And they can always just come see us at the chamber at 1640 Burnt Boat Drive. Our doors are always open. As you say, it's a building for the community, and we love to welcome folks and chat with them about what's going on.
Very cool. Well, thank you for coming in to chat with us today.
Thank you very much.
It was very wonderful having you. And everyone, thank you again for watching this episode of City Chat with City Magazine. Again, I'm Kilee Harmon, and make sure you head to our website at thecitymag.com, where you can read this current issue with Kelvin on the cover, and you can also watch past episodes of the TV show. Have a good day, everyone.